slow showing flying style, and this is for these birds to move across long distances, across the hot and arid land here in Australia in search of food and water, shelter, nesting trees. And some of you might be a little bit more familiar with the black cockatoos going around these areas. We quite often see yellow-tailed black cockatoos around the sanctuary grounds. And local Wurundjeri people tell us when the yellow-tailed black cockatoos fly over, it's a sign the rains are coming. Well, thank you, Karak. Thanks for coming out. I see Karak would like to head off home. You might like to give her a bit of a round of applause. So there is definitely hope for these beautiful birds, and it's all about changing our habits, and certainly we think red-tailed black cockatoos are worth changing habits for. So the birds I've met so far have made some pretty amazing adaptations over time, or in responses to the changes in their environment. So what can we learn from our feathered friends? Well, Callista, our other Sulphur crested cockatoo, I hope will join us in just a moment, because Callista has a really important message for everyone here. Something we can all do to help our birds and our wildlife well into the future. Thanks, come over here, Callista. Well done. Okay. So Sulphur crested cockatoos have been long known to send out a bird in the flock as a lookout or a sentinel to warn the flock of any approaching danger. Now, in Australian slang, a person on lookout is actually called a cockatoo. So I'm hoping Callista is going to be on lookout and reveals a really important message for everyone here. Likes to reveal it in banner form. Life for wildlife, well done, Callista. See that beautiful sulphur crest? Life for wildlife. What is it all about? Some of you might already have an idea. Now, every year in Australia, we're actually flushing 6.7 million trees down our toilets. So trees mean habitat for birds. So trees are better off in the ground than down our toilets. So every time that you hear a sulphur crested cockatoo screech, please think about changing this habit for habitat by making the simple switch to using 100% recycled toilet paper.
Okay, now some of you might think that it'd be the birds of prey that rule the skies. You think they're the rulers. But the next bird we're going to look at thinks he rules the skies. We have a little bit of a surprise for you. Some of you may have heard that parrots can talk. Yeah? Believe it or not, this is a natural adaptation. It's a natural behaviour we call mimicking. And mimicking is really important for a lot of our birds. What it does, it allows them to learn their own little languages, so their own little dialects, so they can speak to their flocks, find a mate, and work out where the boundaries of their territories actually start and finish. So it's a really important behaviour for a lot of our bird species. Now I am hoping today, with my fingers crossed, that we're going to meet a master mimic. Very intelligent bird, this next bird. So intelligent he can communicate with his own kind and with us. Now hopefully you've all got your fingers crossed, because as I said, this bird, he thinks he's the star of the whole show. So much so, he picks and chooses what he wants to do a little bit. I'd like to introduce you to Kevin. This is Kevin the long-billed corella, that he's going to make himself so hot today. Kev, would you like to come down and join us, please? Here he comes. No. Now, I should just tell you that when Kevin came into us, Kevin, would you like to come down here? Kevin actually had a broken wing and he couldn't fly at all. He was found on the side of the road with a broken wing, been hit by a car. Our vets obviously have done a fantastic job out here today. Or for Kevin, I should say. And Kevin just liked to show off that, hey, look, I can fly now. So that's what we call Kevin's crazy flight. Now we've got to wait for him to get his energy back because he's tired himself out in this heat. So Kevin, would you like to come down and say hello a little bit closer to people? Please. Now when he does make his way down, have a look at his beak. Now you'll be able to notice why they're called long-billed corellas. It's very, that's a way, good boy. Brakes on, brakes on, brakes on. Well, you missed. All right. Have a look at his beak, you can see why he's called a long-billed corella. Really long top beak. That's what they use to get their food out of the ground. They dig in the ground, they dig for tubes and bombs under the ground there. So his beak is really important. Now because Kevin thinks he's such a star, he demands his own microphone, does our Kevin. Now you're still hot, aren't you? You're still a little bit hot. I want a bit of a breather. Would you like at least to say hello to everyone? Good boy. Now Kevin, have you been out the back watching the show? Yeah? Good. We've been talking a little bit about adaptations of birds, and we've already seen some pretty cool adaptations of birds. But Kevin here, he's going to show us what the most important adaptation of all birds is. Kev, what's that? Yeah, you can do it. What's the most important adaptation? Wings. They need their wings. Do you want to see it again? That was a good one. We'll see if we can get another one. Ready? Going to show us your wings again? Good boy. Well done. That's better. Now, we have been talking a little bit about birds of prey. Now, one of the things about birds of prey and raptors is that they use their feet to catch their food. So raptors always use their feet to catch their food. I've spoken about Kevin here. He doesn't use his feet to get his food. He uses his beak to get his food, but he still has some pretty fancy footwork. Kevin here, he can show me his right foot and his left foot. Good job, Kev. We know people out there that don't even know their left from their right. So in fact, I saw some people going, yeah, that's right. So Kevin's doing a really, really good job. We also spoke about Timber while he was out here. That Timber could turn his head in an arc of 270 degrees, which is a really long way around, a lot further than people can. Kevin here's going to give it a go. Kev, how far around can you see? 360 degrees. Way too clever for his own good sometimes, is Kevin. Now when people come and see our birds of prey, they see the owl flying around, they think, wow, that was pretty scary, you came really close. And no one ever thinks our parrots are scary. But Kevin here, he's just as scary as any bird of prey. In fact, he's about as scary as something like a tiger. You see his claws as well? He means business. Now today we have only spoken about parrots and birds of prey, but all birds are cool, aren't they, Kev? That's right. So we need to look after all our birds out there in the wild, not just the ones we've seen here today. Now Kevin does think he's the star, as I said, so he expects everyone to give him a big wave goodbye. Can you give a big wave? Big wave. Another one. Good boy. He also expects the loudest clap of all. How about a really big round of applause for Kevin? Great job today, mate. Well done. Now luckily for long-billed corellas like Kevin, they are another one of the bird species that are adapting really well to changes in the environment. We're starting to see more and more long-billed corellas than ever before. Now, you might not realise it, but you're all sitting in the territory of the master adapter, the true ruler of the Australian skies. These birds can be found right across Australia, from mountain slopes to treeless plains. They're Australia's largest raptor. They have a wingspan of up to 2.5 metres. They also have a nice long wedge-shaped tail where they get their name from. We'd like you to meet Magra, our wedge-tailed eagle. Magra here is quite a dark coloured bird. You'll see she's almost black in parts. It's because she's old. She's about 17 years old, but she should live up to about 50 years old, hopefully, in captivity. Now these wedge-tailed eagles are standout raptor adapters. They have amazing eyesight. An eagle like Magra here can see a moving rabbit from over 1 kilometre away, which is pretty impressive. Rabbits do make up a large part of their diet these days, but they'll also hunt other things, occasionally other birds, reptiles, and they're more than capable of hunting animals the size of an adult wallaby if they need to. They are extremely powerful hunters. Now the great command of flight, wedge-tailed eagles soar and glide on long, broad, upswept wings. Their sheer size and power is a pretty impressive sight. You'll even see why Magra's nice and low today. Here we go. She has these really broad shoulders, big beak, and some of you just then got a nice close look at those talons, if you weren't ducking. The talons on the end of toes. Now her feet is what she uses to catch and kill her prey, so incredibly powerful feet. They are a protected species these days, which is a good thing. It means we get a chance to see quite a large and widespread population of wedge-tailed eagles on the mainland of Australia these days, which is a really good thing. Mags, you missed that one. I just told everyone how good your eyesight is. She didn't miss it. She knows if she hangs around long enough, I'm going to throw a bigger one out, don't you? And it's also very hot for her today. She's struggling a little bit in the heat. Good girl. Now these birds are very territorial birds. Occasionally we do see a wild pair of wedge-tailed eagles here at Healesvile Sanctuary that thinks this patch of sky is part of their territory, and occasionally they fly into Magra's airspace. So keep your eyes open for them, and it's very likely you'll get a chance to see those birds today. They'll be up nice and high, soaring and gliding around.